All right. Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you for joining us for today's Small and Rural Libraries Forum meetup on the topic of marketing without social media. My name is Sherry Waldrop. I am the forum manager, and I'm also the director at Illinois Public Library in Monticello, where it is nice and bright and warm and sunny. Warm is to be, it's not 80, but I'll take 60. Anyway, hope you have sunshine where you are as well. The SARL Forum has these meetups on topics that are chosen by you and for you, and it's a place for conversation and crowdsourcing solutions that specifically work for our library types. Note that we are recording this, and on Friday, the recording will be posted on the SARL Forum page, which is on the ILA.org website. So let me tell you a little bit about our speaker. Donna Forbes is passionate about connecting people with information. Since 2019, she has served as the marketing and events coordinator for the Illinois Prairie District Public Library, which is where, Donna?
Northeast of Peoria in Woodford County.
Okay, awesome. I was going to look it up and I forgot to do that. Anyway, she also works as an independent speaker. She offers programs on a variety of topics, including genealogy, crafting with Cricut machines, technology and software instructions, lifestyle programs, and trivia events. And she also goes to programs too that sound really cool, like the one she's going to today. Anyway, in her free time, just like many of us, she enjoys reading, traveling, and volunteering at her church. She lives in Central Illinois with her husband and the youngest of her three sons. So welcome, Donna, to today's event.
Thank you.
I am going to turn it over to you, and again, continue to welcome people as they are still coming in. In the chat, if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Donna, I'll keep an eye on that so that you don't have to worry about that. And maybe we can get to those questions at the end, unless it's something that is a little bit more pressing and we need to get to it.
I have no problem being interrupted.
Okay.
I mean, it's when I am the little bit of ADHD in me pops out sometimes when I'm teaching. And if somebody has a question that is like on topic, and I do not mind being interrupted for that, just because if I try and put a pin in it, I might not get back around to it.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
just being honest here.
Yeah. So everybody got
So
that. So yeah, if it's an urgent one, just say, need to ask it
yeah,
now.
it was just you pop it in the chat, or raise your hand, whatever. I am flexible. And
Okay.
the presentation part of it is short enough that we should have plenty of time to chat afterwards.
Okay. Sounds good. Great.
Okay. So the basis of this program is Marketing 365, and it's about designing a wall calendar, which is sort of counterintuitive in this day and age. But as I go through it, you'll understand kind of why we landed where we did with this. So this is me. All my contact information is right there. This slide will come up at the end as well. And I'm going to be giving a copy of the slides and everything to Sherry and Kristen so that they can post everything that I have with the recording when it shows up tomorrow. So as far as the project itself, I'm going to go through the concept development, the design and content creation, production, marketing, and distribution, and then kind of what has happened with this ever since we started the project. I will say this, in 2025, that was the second calendar that we published. I'm currently finalizing our 2026 calendar. So this is something that really has worked for us. And if you jump on it, it's still not too late to get something going for this year if you are really dedicated to the idea. And I am happy to offer any one-on-one guidance that anybody wants, needs, or desires if they can get this done for 2026. So let me
Donna, do you mind going back a moment and talking about how you came up with this idea?
I'll be doing that in the next slide.
Okay.
So, as far as concept development goes, um, basically we were trying to figure out what does our library need? And we wanted a way to connect with our patrons on a regular basis. Where we are, even though we're just outside of Peoria, and some of our patrons are, suburban adjacent. Most of our district is really rural. We've got a lot of farmers. We've got a lot of older people. We have a lot of people who might not feel as comfortable with technology as, maybe some other patrons in a big city like, oh, I don't know, East Peoria, and it's 40,000 people. So we wanted to be able to connect with those patrons, even if they're not as tech and computer savvy. Um, you know, People that aren't on Facebook, they're not on Instagram, they don't want or get the library emails. They're not computer savvy. How do we reach those people? So we needed to find sources that would be dependable because the old ways don't always work anymore. Um, and the whole idea behind this, it started in late 2023. We had a patron come in and she said, "Do you know if there's anywhere around here where I can get a wall calendar? The bank isn't giving them out anymore." And that was kind of the spark behind this whole idea for us was, you know, why don't we do a wall calendar? We could do a wall calendar. Um, and it was like, why not? Let's just dive in head first. Um, as we've been coming up with this concept, we do a theme each year. 2024 was our first one that we did, and we really focused on our branches because we have 6 locations across 310 square miles. We wanted to make sure that everybody who got a calendar knew that they had their choice of where they could go, and that, different branches have different hours. Maybe, you're not available on Tuesday, but you are available on Wednesday. Here's all the branches that are open on Wednesdays. So it was really kind of featuring our core structure, our branches, our, perennial programming, like our children's programming, our summer reading program, things like that. This year's calendar, um, we zeroed more in on just the programming and what kinds of programs do we offer. And each month had a different theme. One month we talked about all of our genealogy programs. We talked about our summer reading programs. We talk about our winter reading programs, that kind of thing. So each month had a different focus. Our 2026 calendar is going to focus entirely on our digital resources and what kinds of things we have available. So we've got one that is going to be on things like food and cooking. One month is going to be on hobbies and crafts. One month is, I don't even have the list in front of me. One month is again our genealogy stuff. One month is all on things like LinkedIn learning and career and skills development. We've got a month that we're focusing on consumer reports. All those different online resources, some of the stuff that we're getting through the Secretary of State package, some of the ones that we have subscribed to on our own, but really focusing on the resources that are available to our patrons from month, over the years. And the one thing that we wanted to do was make sure that in this one little, 28-page book, we have everything our patrons need to be able to get a hold of us. The last page of the calendar has a section that is all of our branches, locations, and hours. We have QR codes to get to our online calendar. We have QR codes to get to our website. We have QR codes to get to our social media. We have QR codes to get to our online catalog, so there's phone numbers, email addresses, all of that is located at the back, so that patrons can get to it right away. Because we wanted to make that information as easy as possible to locate. The back cover of our calendar is a screen. It's basically a Google map that shows all of our locations. So, back in here. So as far as the design and content creation goes, we wanted a traditional wall calendar. We wanted it to be really clean, have lots of usable space. We wanted our patrons to be able to write on it because that's what you do with a wall calendar. We wanted it bright colors so that we had a lot of, eye-catching things, especially in our photo images and things like that. We did things like highlight the different holidays and special occasions. We included library-related dates like, National Library Week, Banned Books Week, Drop Everything and Read Day, things like that. Our content, like I said, we have a different spread for each month, and we coordinate with, like for this year, we coordinated our content with the months where everything happens. So in January, the layout had to do with our adult winter reading challenge that we run in January and February. In June and July, we focused on summer reading, that kinds of thing. For the images, we used branch photos. We used some of our marketing images that we did. We used SRP, the summer reading posters. And then I went out to Emojipedia and got super high resolution versions of all the different icons I wanted for the little calendar holidays and things like that. And then again, that added information at the back, the hours, locations, all of that. And it's all on the last page of the calendar. So if you've got it on a nail in your kitchen, you can always lift up all of the pages and still get to all of the information all year long. So this just shows you some of our calendar layout here. So the top left is the photo spread for our January calendar this year. And again, there's a QR code right there that takes patrons out to our Bean Stack. So if they want to sign up for that cabin fever reliever winter reading program, they can. We talk about our different book clubs. Again, we talk about our summer reading program. The map in the upper right, that's the map that's on the back cover of the calendar, so our patrons can find us. April and March, you can see how we've got the little icons at the bottom of the squares to show, to designate holidays and things like that. And then the last two on the bottom right, those are the 2 pages on the inside back cover. So again, we've got the URL links and the QR codes to get to us online. And there's all of the contact information along with the branches and hours and things like that. So as far as technical aspects of getting the calendar produced, the biggest challenge that we had was choosing where to get it printed. Logic says that choosing the printer would be secondary to the calendar design, but there are tons of different vendors that will print a calendar for you. The one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have product support during the process. Some of the services that will do this, they just say, here's a template, do it, send us the files and we'll print it, but they don't offer any kind of feedback or support on the calendar. Turnaround time can be key. when we started this in 2023 to get a calendar out for 2024, we didn't even start it until mid-November. So at that point, it was really hustle, get the design done, get it sent to the printer, and get it back. I think we got the calendars back like the 1st of December, maybe the 2nd week of December. I mean, it was late in the year. Last year, I think we had everything back by December, before December 1st. This year, I'm hoping to finish it up this week so that we can still get the calendars back from our printer before Thanksgiving. So that's my goal. So the vendor we ended up going with is Smart Press, and you can find them at smartpress.com. The one thing that really kind of put it over the top for us for Smart Press was we were able to, at no charge, order a sample book of all of the papers that they use in all of their print products. So they sent us this big, almost like the book that the decorators have with all the paint colors in it. It was kind of like that, but it had samples of all of the different papers. And so that gave us an opportunity to, to touch them, to feel them, to understand the weight of the different papers that they use. And I was able to write on them with all different kinds of, pens, pencils, markers, things like that. What's going to smear, what's not going to smear, you know, and choose the best pages to fit our calendar. So that was kind of the put it over the top for me. So, I did all of our page layout and design in Publisher. I know that Publisher is not, nobody supports Publisher anymore. Publisher doesn't exist anymore. Publisher still exists. I'm still working with it. But really, this is the only project that I use Publisher for anymore. And it's because Publisher has a utility in it where I can insert the calendar onto a page and I can tell it what month and what year I want the calendar, and it'll format the calendar, and so that whole layout and design is already done for me. I don't have to worry about measuring squares or aligning a grid or any of that. So that made it really easy. I use Corel Aftershot Pro 3 for photo enhancements. Again, I used emojipedia.com for all of the different icons. It's literally an online encyclopedia of emojis. And then I used our brand kit and our colors, and sent with my print files, I sent a color map of every color that was being used in the calendar, with the hex code value, so that the printer had that as a separate document so that they could color match all of what we wanted in the calendar. For
Donna,
marketing,
we had a
yeah,
quick question. Somebody wanted to know, because you were talking about Publisher. Did you look at Canva?
I did. And the craziest thing about Canva is that you can go out and you can say, I want a 2026 calendar. And what it gives you are all of the templates that have already been designed. They don't have just a flat blank. I want white squares where I can change the color, and I can change, and it's like it would take more effort for me to go out and strip out everything that I don't want that's in the Canva templates, and then put in what I do want. And so for that reason, like I said, even though Publisher is not technically supported by Microsoft anymore, it still has the utility to do what I need it to do. Because ultimately what I needed was, at the end of the day, you can use whatever tool you need. Our vendor just needs a PDF print ready file. So how you get there, absolutely use whatever tools
Mhm.
you are most comfortable with. But for our purposes, trying to find something that was, stripped down and minimalistic as possible, I was not finding that on Canva.
Yeah, and that makes
So,
sense. I mean, there are some things that you can do on Canva where you could just kind of create your own, but that certainly makes
yeah,
sense.
but
Yeah.
yeah, to start over from scratch and then have to go in and put in, even if I just started with a blank table, then I have to go in and I have to put in the numbers on
Mm,
every day,
mm.
and I have to, and I'm not going to do that 365 times.
Right. And I had a question about the Emojipedia. Is there any copyright issues with that?
No. What Emojipedia does, they literally have every emoji that's out there. So you can type in, sunglasses, and it will show you every emoji that has sunglasses related to it. And if you click on one of them, whichever one it is, it will open up and it will show you what the smiley face wearing sunglasses looks like on Facebook, what it looks like on Google, what it looks like in Microsoft, and even the various evolutions of it. So you can kind of go in and it absolutely identifies all of these, and it is open source to be able to copy and download, and so it really is a good tool for finding those different emojis, because it does have that search function, and you can find whatever is going to work best for your utility.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So marketing and distribution. We kicked off our marketing campaign in November. We announced that we were doing a calendar through all of our communication channels, through social media, our website, our newsletter, things like that. We made the calendars available to pick up at all of our branches, and we went around and we dropped off calendars at all of our community business partners, all of those um, companies that help us sponsor our summer reading program, or donate prizes, things like that, um, including the bank that no longer gives out wall calendars. We took a lot of them over there, and they actually called us and said, "Hey, do you have more that we can share?" So, and we also took calendars to, we have two retirement communities, two nursing home retirement communities in our service area, and we took, I think, 25 or 30 calendars to each of those places as well. Oh, pardon me. We also took calendars to the 6 school districts that we have in our service area, and gave them to, like, the library and things like that, so they had ways to communicate about our services to their students.
Donna, did you say how many you ordered?
The first year, yeah, actually, I'm going to talk about that right here. Um, we always measure our success by how many calendars we have left. Were we able to give them all away? Um, we always want to have some left over, to use as a reference copy for the following year, to give away at marketing events, things like that. But we don't want to have a lot left over. In 2024, we ordered 200 and, I'm sorry, we ordered 725, and we had over 250 left. I mean, we had a couple boxes of calendars left. In 2025, we only ordered 500, and we had less than 100 left over at the, after we, I would say by the end of March, we had less than 100. Right now, I'm looking at maybe doing, I haven't quite settled on it. It's either going to be 400 or 450 this year, but I will, um, I'll figure that out probably this week. Wait, today's Thursday. Yeah, but I'm looking at between 400 and 450 for this year. Just, we don't want to waste a lot of paper. We don't want to have too many overages, but we also, again, we don't want to run out. The nice thing about Smart Press is they are located in southeastern Minnesota, um, just kind of just outside of Minneapolis. And so even with UPS ground shipping, their turnaround time is like 3 days in production, and then it's UPS ground, but UPS ground takes 2 days to get to us, because we're so close. So, I can wait and order them and still get them in time for Thanksgiving because I can get them inside of a week. Um, as far as success goes, the other thing is the calendar doing the job that we want it to do? And ultimately, for every wall calendar that one of our patrons picks up, it allows us to be present in the lives of our patrons every single day of the year. It's a daily reminder of the services that we offer, the opportunities that we offer, the programs that they can take advantage of. And ever since we started doing this, our patrons have been really grateful for it. The calendars, they're very high quality, they are aesthetically pleasing, and they have a lot of utility to them. Um, and just the idea that we are making an effort to make library use as easy and approachable as possible, because we are meeting, especially our farming patrons, we are meeting them where they are at, which is they still want a wall calendar. Um, and they want something that they're going to find, informative and entertaining, and um, kind of coalesce with their values. So that's that's kind of where we're at with that. So um, I that's what I got. So you see.
All right.
So
Does anybody have any questions for Donna? I think the one question I had was, as you were talking about, the calendars and the patrons, is what have people actually said to you about them? Like, have people asked, like, "Hey, when are the calendars coming?"
absolutely, absolutely. We've had people asking, are you guys doing a calendar again this year? Yes, we are. When will the calendars be available? They will be available around Thanksgiving. You know, um, and and we have patrons who come in and they're like, "Are the calendars here yet?" No, calendars aren't here yet. But when we get them, we start saying, "Hey, we got this year's wall calendar. Do you want this year's wall? Oh, yes, 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 I will take that." And then we have the patrons that, "Can I have two? Because I want to take one in my office." Yeah, absolutely. So
Christian just posted something in the chat, that Donna has given Kristen some samples. You can see Kristen holding them up. And if people want a copy, then you could drop your name and address in the chat, and Kristen will send it to you. And if
or
not,
just just or
and if
even
not
just their name
Kristen,
in your
then
library.
yeah. Well, we need the address, just to make sure that we're sending it to the right place. So. Um, and Kristen only has a limited supply, but we can also get some more. So if you want one, they may not necessarily come from ILA, they may come from Rails. But if you want one, we can get you one. Don, I was going to ask about, it's nice that, some of the things that, you're putting, on the picture portion of it. But on the actual calendar itself, are you putting programs? Like, are you putting like, okay, like our story times and lab times are set,
No.
Wednesdays and Thursdays. So are you putting those kinds of things in?
Um, we have shied away from that.
Okay.
just because as far as our programming goes, there are times when, there are some things that are kind of set in stone, but there are things that, we only plan by the quarter, or we only plan 6 months in advance. The only things that, as far as like programs go, that hard and fast that do go on the calendar, we always put the day that registration is going to open up for our summer reading program. We always put the first day to read for our summer reading program, and we always put the last day to log reading for our summer reading program, because we do know those dates in advance. But like our youth services librarian who does our children's programming, she programs in anywhere from 6 to 9 week blocks, and then we'll take a week off, and that kind of that schedule flexes through the year. So like this year in 2025, one of her off weeks was the week that the 4th of July. So we had like no children's programming that year or that week. But at the same time, we didn't know that we weren't going to have children's programming that week until like late April, early May. So, so it's, if people want to know like individual programs, we have a separate utility for that. That is our library programming calendar, and you can get to that using the QR code at the back of the print calendar. So that, or through our email newsletter, or by looking at the flyers and things that we have posted in the library. So there's lots of other ways to get to those daily programs.
Well, and that makes sense, especially if things are going to change. You definitely, you don't want somebody coming to the library. Oh, I thought you were having such and such a program, and then you're not.
Well, and the whole purpose behind this is not necessarily to hit our patrons over the head with what's going on at the library. We are doing this as this is something our patrons are looking for, as far as, this is a useful utilitarian item for them. And so we want to make it as useful to them as possible. So, they can write when those dentist appointments or doctor's appointments or parent teacher conferences, they can write all that stuff down. So, Tom asked if we had a sponsor for our calendar. Technically, no. We are paying for it out of our marketing budget. But if I remember correctly, our ad spend for the 2025 calendar was just under $1,900, and that included shipping. So that was 28. It was the 28-page calendar stapled in the middle with the hole drilled in it, 500 copies, and shipped UPS ground. And it was like 18 and change. So that came out of our marketing budget.
Would you consider having sponsors, or is that just something like you feel like your library right now can cover the cost?
Well, right now we do plan for that cost as far as our marketing budget goes. The thing that makes me kind of feel a little hinky about sponsorship, things like that, we have other sponsorship opportunities through the year, especially like our summer reading program. And so I don't necessarily want to go to that well too many times during the year. I would much rather, if a local business, if they've got $200 to spend on something for the library, I would rather they give me all of that money for summer reading than for something like this. and because of the like the partnerships and things like that that we've established over the past 6 years through our summer reading program and the sponsorships that we get for that, um, every year, I mean, every year we are giving away in excess of $30,000 in prizes every year, and the library's spend for that is less than $5,000. So we get a lot of support from our community partners, and I would much rather have our community partners sponsor a really big program like our summer reading program than something like the calendar.
Do you, in terms of the cost, like, uh, I mean, that would be like, that's like 4 times my budget. Do you think that, like, if you chose a different paper or that you could lower the cost, like, is your
Oh,
paper
absolutely.
that you use for this more of a high grade paper?
We did go with I mean it's a pretty high quality paper, but again, we've got, our service population is over, it's just at 22,000
Mm.
right now. And so, we can justify ordering, 500 calendars. There's not, with Smart Press, it's just like, if you're doing something from 4imprint or any other, custom vendor, the more you buy, the cheaper it is. But I know that for a lot of our other print materials, we have, I mean, like I order trifold brochures and stuff like that printed directly from Canva because that's like the cheapest that I can do that, and get a really high quality trifold brochure on really good paper. Um, so again, we chose this vendor because it worked for us, but that doesn't mean that you can't get something similar from a different vendor that's going to be better for your library. You know, I am all about saving money wherever you can. And trying to be as fiscally responsible with our taxpayers' money as possible. So,
Okay. I know that so my home library, Ellerton's not my home library. My home library puts out what they call a program book.
mhm,
I think they got the idea from Rochester. But that's programs. It's like so
right,
you have to be a little bit more timely with it. Sometimes they mail it out, and I mean, it's a nice publication. It really is. And when you mail it, they do the special mail thing, and it goes out to every household. I mean, so that's another, option for people. It's just that you have to do all your program planning ahead of time.
right. And then, for libraries that can afford that, I know of some libraries that do that and they do that 4 times a year, and it's like what some of those libraries are spending in one quarter to mail out those books. That's my entire marketing and programming budget for the year. It's like, great. I'm happy that you can do that. I can't do that. I can find, you know, a couple $1,000s to, I mean, because when it comes right down to it, even at $2,000 a year for this calendar, that's less than $200 in marketing every month. I mean, when you look at how it breaks, how that cost breaks down over the year, if I know some libraries that they spend that much on Facebook ads in a month, and not all of their patrons are on Facebook. Um, you know, my patrons that aren't on Facebook
I'm still in front of them every day in their kitchen or their office or wherever if they've got one of my calendars hanging up there. And that's a reminder that, hey, the library is here for you.
These are, some of the assets that we have to offer.
I think that's what I like about the calendar is that you are in front of the patron every day. Think of my own calendar. I mean, I do have calendars. We have at least 4 in my house, and yes, you see them, you pass by them all the time. So,
And it's like, and with everything that we do, we try and make our marketing communications not only be entertaining but educational as well. So, if you can learn how to get on Consumer Reports for free, using your library card, or if you can learn about, our in September and October, our director took a trip out to do the Utah National Parks circuit. And we turned that into a marketing campaign on our Facebook and Instagram pages. For 2 weeks, we posted pictures of her traveling through the different national parks and the different things that they saw in the different national parks. And we used every post to be informative about that national park, when it was founded and things like that. And oh, thanks, Alice.
well, I was going to say, and you
Yeah.
could also be like, hey, and look, we have this book on this national park. You're like, come and check it out.
Well, well, it was more of we did kind of like a flat dawn thing,
Oh,
so
fun.
so she had a flat dawn and we did it kind of like a play off of Dora the Explorer, and
Mhm.
and talked about the national parks, and just it was a fun little thing. We got more engagement from a stupid laminated puppet on a colored paint stick, and I mean, I kid you not, it took me less than $2 in materials to make this flat dawn that she took with her on vacation. And and it was great. We everybody loved it. Our children's librarian is going to be going on a vacation in January to Punta Cana, and we're going to make a flat Sam for her to take. And she is going to talk about all of the food she eats at her all-inclusive resort. And we're going to use that to help promote our A to Z World Food database. So
Sounds great. Those are other ideas that do involve social media. So.
yeah, but again, it's
It's
there
free.
are patrons. Yeah, there are patrons that absolutely they want to see us on Facebook. They want to see what's going on. There are patrons who they only want to see whatever we have posted in the library. There are, patrons that do want to have that email newsletter in their inbox on Wednesday mornings. It's trying to meet the patrons where they are at so that we can communicate with them in the way that they feel most comfortable and they are most welcoming of our message.
Very true. Any other questions for Donna? Does anybody have any questions? Oh, wow, Lisa. More than 500 followers? Oh my gosh. That's a lot in 2 years. Did you do
Yeah.
something special?
Okay, Alice, I don't understand your post about 13.
Yeah, 1303.99 plus 33. What is that?
Let me
She must have
see.
she must have did a cut and paste of something, and I do
We
that.
actually, this is Lisa, sorry.
That's all right.
I actually took over in July of 2023 and as director, and I I just have a background in social media marketing. And so we started posting regularly and doing event pages. And that really helped get the word out. And we started sharing posts from other community groups, and they started doing the reverse for us. And so this is from when I took over. I think we're at like 50. We're at, just a minute. Yeah, we had 276 followers when I took over, and now I'm not sure, we're at like 700 and something. So sorry, we're at 781. And so, and
Lisa, we're,
Nokomis is very small too, so, I mean.
okay, you're in Nokomis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
our district, or I think it's, our township has like 2,500 people, so residents around that, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what our Facebook was at when I hired in. I started here in September of 2019. And I know that our Facebook was maybe somewhere around like 500 or 600 people. It was not, it was just barely fledgling at that point. As of right now, we are just over 2,100 on Facebook. But that has been, it has taken us a while to get there. We have far fewer people on Instagram. Just because Instagram is not really a popular platform where we are. We do have the people that follow us on Instagram are really loyal. And and they do interact with our stuff on Instagram, and they like our stuff on Instagram. But it's it's not a platform that a majority of our patrons use. But it's one of those, I don't necessarily like everything that happens on Facebook, but I feel like there's a need to be there.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I think you have to use all types of marketing options because you just don't always know where people are at. You obviously had a patron or patrons who love the whole calendar because they're maybe not on Facebook. So you need to, reach them through that avenue.
right.
Yeah. So Kristen asked, are there any other examples of non-social marketing? She would love to hear ideas from others if anyone has anything to share. So non-social marketing. Obviously, I gave that example of the program book that my home library has. I would love to know things that don't cost a lot of money, truthfully.
We just in the past year, we did do one like half sheet size mass market postcard. And that we coincided when we launched our new website at the beginning of, or at the end of January, beginning of February. We sent out a postcard, said, hey, come see our new website, because we were really proud of that. But we just did a trifold brochure from that focuses on our adult programming, because it felt like we had a lot of hype around our children's programming. And so we wanted something that would be kind of evergreen, that would focus on what we had as far as programs for adults. So we put that together. I printed that on Canva, and I think we got 500 of those, and it was like $225. So it really was not expensive at all to have Canva print those. And there was no shipping, so that was a bonus. Um, but Monica's talking about the uh, stuff that she did there. One of the things that we did this year was we did order a lot of swag from For Imprint that we used as tier prizes in our summer reading program.
Mhm.
So
Like what
so
kind
if
of sway? Like what kind of sway?
so we got some of those little it's like a fabric frisbee with the metal ring around it that you can twist and fold into a little pocket.
Mhm.
We did those. We did and we looked at iRead offered like these really cool maze pens, but we looked at them, we were like, you know, we can get those from iRead for a comparable price and have them branded with the library's information rather than the summer reading theme. And so we did that. So we've got the maze pens and anything that's left over, we can use as giveaways at outreach events. You know, it's not necessarily directly summer reading related. But we've bought little notebooks that have our logo on the front. We bought the fold up flyers. Um we bought little magnetic bookmarks that have our logo on them. Um, just all kinds of things so that even if we're giving it away as part of our summer reading program, anything that we have left over is still marketing materials that we can use all year long.
Mhm. That's very true. And there's some great suggestions in the chat as well. Like even newspapers, like we still have a newspaper here in Monticello. And some of our bigger programs, like they have actually done like a whole article. So they'll post our programs in the newspaper just on a separate page, you know, what's happening at local libraries, because there's like 4 other libraries around here. But then like these big programs, they're the Illinois Humanities programs that we have. And they do like full markup, I mean, full articles on those, and that's been really helpful. And again, you know, as Lisa said, it doesn't cost anything because it's a newspaper.
Yeah, it's interesting that where we are, there are a couple of different newspapers that come out like once a week.
Mhm.
Um, and it's they have we struggle to get any kind of coverage there. They will post a, you know, here's what's happening this week at the library. Um, but you know, I send them press releases and it's crickets.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the one big paper in our area is from across the river from us in Peoria, and they have gotten kind of really pricey as far as their home subscriptions go. And I don't know, a year or two ago they switched from home delivery to you get your newspaper in the mail.
Mhm.
And so like they lost a whole bunch of subscribers, and it's just the effort that it takes to get in our local newspapers is just not worth the return that we're getting from it. Um, so I would much rather do things like I submit announcements to our local National Public Radio station,
Mhm.
you know, and that's absolutely free. And they use those as filler during the like the morning and afternoon news programs and that kind of thing. And it's like, oh, hey, by the way, there's this program happening at the library. And but you know, and yes, we don't have a lot of control over when those ads or when those spots air. Um, because they just use them to fill in. But it's we've had a lot of people recently who have said, "Oh, I'm coming to this program because I heard about it on the radio."
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if I had a restaurant in my library, that would be a really interesting concept, but none of my libraries um none of my libraries have enough.
Or a coffee shop.
Well, and that's the thing, none of my libraries have like the square footage to support that. Like the biggest physical space that we have in our busiest branch is just at 7,000 square feet. Our smallest libraries are under 1,000 square feet. So, oh, Lisa, you are lucky.
Yeah, well, I mean, and again, a lot of it depends on, I have to throw this out there, a lot of it depends on who the editor is, and the kind of relationship you have with that editor.
Well,
Especially at these small newspapers, because often, at least for ours, she's the only one who's like,
and
writing the articles.
and I will say this, one of my part-time circulation staff also writes for one of the local weekly newspapers. And I can't even always get her stuff. Anyway, she'll submit stuff about what's going on in the library, and that always doesn't always get in the paper.
Hmm.
So even though she's like a staff writer for them. So it's newspapers are a real struggle anymore. It's
Yeah. Yeah. That's why
so
you try and do what you can do. So, okay.
yeah.
Anybody, what else did you say? I do know the editor, but I write the article. That's very true. Lisa, that's what we do. We usually put together the article and we just send it, and then
Yeah. And
yeah.
I have done that, and I think part of it is because of where we are. If I try and send something to the Peoria paper, there's way too much competition for that page space in their newspaper. So, and the fact that we are kind of the redheaded stepchildren of central Illinois as far as the Tri-County area goes. There's a lot more happening in Peoria, and I mean, like, literally there are 16 library systems within the Peoria Journal Star distribution area. So trying to
Yes, it's hard.
sorry, Lisa. But there are 16 library systems in this area. And so if the local newspaper is going to give any page space to any one system, it's going to be the library in Peoria.
Mm.
And rightfully so, because that's their hometown library. It's just it makes it really difficult for us to to get page space.
Sure,
So
sure. All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Donna, for presenting this information today. I found it really informative. It's a new idea. I always love learning about new ideas. So hopefully other people got some encouraged by this new idea as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna, Kristen, before we do this, you're gonna save that chat so that we know who to send these calendars to.
Yep, I've copied them all down.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Well, as I noted earlier, the recording is going to be uploaded to the Small and Rural Libraries Forum website tomorrow. If you want to go back through it again, Kristen just posted the link in the chat. The forum has these meetups every other month, and then we actually have a forum meeting on the other month. So it's kind of an alternating. So our next forum meeting is Thursday, December 11th at 2:00, and anybody can come to those meetings just to hear what we're talking about and doing. And so our next meetup will be in November. At this point, we don't have an actual date scheduled for that yet. But if you are on the receiving end of our Google group emails, or you actually read the newsletters from ILA, then you'll see the information about that. So again, all of the forum meetings and our meetups are open to any library worker, and you can find those registration links on the website. So if you haven't joined our Google group and our Facebook page for updates, you can do that again on our website. So again, thank you, Donna.
And Chris, and Kristen put the links in the chat, so.
Yeah, yep. So thanks, everyone. So glad you could join us today, and enjoy the rest of your day and be safe.
Thank you.